Third eye. Yo, what's up? It's someone that's someone, and welcome back to today's report. Today's report is coming from Indian and Machine off Herowood. When this happened, 2004, the drug used, Mandrake, at a dose of 1 drop. The route administration, transdermal, gender, male, and his weight, 140 pounds. Alright, so here we are introducing Mandrake. This is another member of the Noceae family that contains the tropane alkaloids, the same ones as the Tora. We brought this substance up in a combo for Delirium Week 2021, specifically someone using it in a witch's ointment. So here we are to see what Mandrake is like on its own and get an idea of it. You can also thank the Discord, as this was voted next. But I will say, while this can be a strong deliriant, the use of it here today is much different than straight up consumption, and the user actually reports positive effects. This was the method in the first report we brought up too. Through a transdermal method, this user actually finds spiritual empowerment and influence. We're going to get into that and Mandrake more after the report. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, so without further ado, let's dive right into this. I picked up some Mandrake from the local witch's supply store, so I'm assuming it's American Mandrake and not Old World, but that's just an assumption. In any event, I asked her what she recommended to prepare it. She said half oil and half root. Shake a few times a day for 10 days. Then dab some on the forehead. I ended up putting half root and half sunflower oil in the jar, shaking 3 to 5 times a day for 14 days. I figured if it was stronger, I would just use less. I find 1 drop on my third eye really gets it revved up. Great for meditation, or in silence, or for artistic things. I do plan on trying a few drops at a time, but for now, I really am content with just 1 drop. It's more of a general positive vibe. It was through my Mandrake use I was able to experience my third eye and my crown chakra. Whether it was directly attributable to Mandrake or if it was simply time remains unanswerable. But I do like Mandrake and have a strong connection to it, as it seems to be medicine for the brain, part of my personal spiritual education. I've used it 2 to 4 times a week for about 5 weeks thus far. I'm still here and feeling better than ever, getting more creative by the day. Because of the third eye work, this wonderful, virtually unknown, misunderstood gift is good for anything related to manifesting good spiritual energy, love, creativity, peace, harmony, and general good vibes. Alright, so Mandrake, or Mandragora. This is a somewhat well-known plant. You may know it from Harry Potter, where they pull out a mandrake and it would be screaming. Or you may know that this has a long history within the practice of witchcraft, being a common ingredient. But like the Tora, belladonna, and others, Mandrake is a part of the Solanaceae family, which members of this family notably contain tropane alkaloids. Mandrake includes hyoscyamine, scopolamine, and atropine, but studies indicate there may be a handful of other tropane alkaloids playing a similar role. Tropane alkaloids act as anticholinergics, which act by antagonizing muscarinic receptors. This will lead to an inhibition of acetylcholine, which results in delirious effects, alongside physical effects like sedation and dehydration. Delirium itself is typically defined by being in a state of dysphoria, that is, being in a state you're dissatisfied with, one you don't want to be in. Typically, strong hallucinations accompany it that'll amplify things, whether that be hearing things or seeing things that aren't actually there. Shadow people, insects, phantom cigarettes are some common examples. But the motor loss control, the frequent urination, the dry mouth, the loss of self and mind, and other side effects are often already enough to put up with. But also found in Mandrake is a compound called podophyllin, or podophyllitoxin, and these days is commonly extracted from Mandrake. Unlike the tropane alkaloids, these substances can have an entirely different application. Podophyllitoxin is the active ingredient in the prescribed drug podophyllix, which is typically prescribed for genital and plantar warts, but can also be used as a cancer treatment. Notably, what this does is act as a cytotoxin, which, in other words, it will help reduce cell division and DNA replication, which is ideal for those conditions. You want something that'll slow the spreading. And this is a topical drug too, meaning it's simply applied to the skin in the affected areas. Pretty interesting stuff to see medicinal usage beyond the tropane alkaloids, but it really doesn't show or explain well why Indian and Machine received the spiritual effects he did. As a comparison, we can bring up another prescription drug that's technically related, one that can be extracted from Mandrake as well. And I'm talking about scopolamine patches. Likewise, they're applied transdermally to absorb through the skin. though the time it's applied is significantly longer. While tropane alkaloids through skin absorption is going to be less strong, there's easily a lot of potential for traits of delirium to pop up. I recommend you check out the report, Strange but Effective, to get a better idea of scopolamine. And while scopolamine is an active alkaloid in Mandrake, it's clear that this user didn't get effects of delirium. I wouldn't say the tropane alkaloids aren't at play though, but I'd say the main reason this user doesn't have that kind of reaction would most likely be both the dosage and the potency of his mixture. One drop of this mixture, applied through skin absorption, is unlikely to cause strong effects. And while he did mix it with oil to kind of pull out the alkaloids more, I still don't think it would be anywhere near the strength a patch would be. If they were to drink the mixture though, I wouldn't doubt it would be as strong as some of these datura teas we cover. And even though Podophyllix is a product that contains a mandrake ingredient, based off the fact it is a cytotoxin, it's unlikely that it played a role. Now I normally don't say this, but I wouldn't doubt there was a degree of placebo here, at least considering the set and setting this user would apply it to himself under. Those spiritual intentions and mindset, and the act of simply applying the mixture, may be what this report is. But then again, this user felt that the mandrake had a significant impact to write up about it like this. So maybe there is some kind of light alkaloid absorption going on, leading to some minimal effects. But besides this, there's some rich history behind the plant. We aren't going to get into it that much, but it goes back to medieval times, even having some references in the Bible. While there is clear extensive signs of it being used in witchcraft, a good portion of history also shows it can be used as a medicine, most notably as an anesthetic. But then there's just a lot of folklore behind it, like the shape and makeup of it, how it's oddly shaped like a human being. There's many myths behind it, for example, that it grows in the spot where people were hung or where murderers died, are the most common one, that if you dug it up, that you would be in for death by its scream. There's even old detailed methods showing how to root one, and a common method would be to tie it to a dog to do it for you. But mandrake itself isn't exclusive to parts of Europe. It can be found in America, parts of Africa, the Middle East, and even in some places in Asia, like China. So it's a pretty widespread substance, one that's been around for a while, and one that can provide the full scope of delirium. But maybe the kind of usage shown here today, just basically touching the plant in this minuscule way, is a better and safer way to respect and get spiritual empowerment from it. Again, maybe this method didn't really do anything, but it does show a realistic side and use of this plant. There's a lot more history and background than what I presented. I mainly just gave you guys the basics. But this report does show well how spiritual energy with a substance can fuel its use without there necessarily being a direct chemical reaction occurring. But we're going to end it there for today. If you enjoyed this report on Mandrake, want to see more on Mandrake or any other substance, let me know down below and we'll do that. If you have your own report, email me or follow the link down below. Make sure to check out the Discord and the socials. But besides that, it's been someone that's someone, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.